Honestly, all things considered, a point out of that game in the end is pretty darn decent. Hard to be too mad at the Avs given the circumstance, but they do ultimately lose. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche post-game show presented by Bet365 as the Avs fall to Minnesota 2-1 in a shootout on the Sega Baba. A number of bounces maybe not going the Avs' way tonight. They do get one eventually. E, what's your initial reaction to a shootout loss tonight to Mini?
Um, I'm always the positive guy in the sense the way I look at the outlook is on Sega Baba, they didn't have their legs. They didn't have a bad game. I mean, I thought they worked hard. Uh, you know, they got greasy finally at the end, you know what I mean, with that Kiwi's little tip there. But, shootout, I really don't, honestly, as you guys know, win or lose, I don't pay attention to shootouts. It's not hockey. And I can't stop looking at your mustache that's gone since the post game. You just lost. I just lost my chain of thought there from your beautiful mustache gone. Um, I just feel that, you know, give credit to Minnesota. They tightened things down there. It made it hard. It was a muck and grind game. They did hit a couple posts. I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? Like, uh, you know, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know. Hey, listen, I feel good. You got the point. You're still undefeated last seven. You know what I mean? 6-0-1.
Point
Um,
streak. Yeah.
and you move on to the rest of your point streak still there. It's a big point. I think it ends up being could have gone either way. We all know that. Um, I mean, on the shootout, it was bad. I mean, Necas and McKinnon didn't even get a shot off. But whatever that happens, and the other two made it count. So give them
Yeah,
credit. Give Minnesota credit. All good.
shootout was bad. We'll talk about that later. I'm not particularly worried about that, other than you would have liked the 2 points, obviously, but whatever. For the record, chat agreed that if the Avs lose in overtime or the shootout, I would only shave the mustache, not the full beard. So that's
All
where
right.
we're at with that. uh, but look, I really, I don't think the Avs played great by any stretch of the imagination, but given the circumstance, given the Sega Baba, given the way they played, especially early in the game, this is a team that hit multiple posts in the first two periods. Very easily could have been a completely different game if the puck goes a little bit better for them. Brock Nelson thought he scored a goal, and it turns out it went off the shoulder, off the crossbar, and out somehow, even though it hit the bottom half of the crossbar. But that's the way the puck bounces sometimes. And look, I do not think that the second half of this game was very fun to watch because the Avs were clearly out of gas and clearly struggling to make basic hockey plays. Because guess what? When you're out of gas, Eric says it all the time. It's not just you physically that stops working. Your brain starts failing too at the end of shifts when you've got nothing left in the tank. It happens. And ultimately, the Avs find a way to get the one goal, even if it's a bit of a weird play. They get it in the back of the net. It barely counts, but it counts. And as much as I would have liked to be sitting here saying the Avs are 7-0, that's a hard-earned point. That's a team that did not quit on this game. That's a team that did a lot of things right tonight, despite maybe the odds being stacked against them a little bit.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm looking at it on a positive side of things. I'm not being negative about this. Listen, they clearly they clearly had an effort. They clearly, gave an honest effort in a sense that I mean, let's not. I mean, Marty throws a puck backwards. Okay, great. That's what ended up ultimately really costing the goal in the game. Forget about the shootout. That's not a goal. That doesn't count. That's the stupidest thing in hockey is a shootout. Anyway, win or lose. But I think the guys, they did uh, fight through, like you said, stuff. So I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried about the effort. Um, it's still not a failure. It's still a Sega Baba. We always say the Avalanche do pretty good in a Sega Baba. Listen, they did pretty good. Again, they go on a 1-1, going to a shootout. I mean, they get a point, could have easily got two. Um, I think you got 2 days off right now. I think it's more than fine. Didn't get any puck luck tonight. Giving a little bit of puck luck. In overtime, they were chasing the game a little bit because they didn't really have the puck, so they couldn't really close it out there till the end. They tried, it didn't work, and then again goes to a shootout. It is what it is. I think you feel good about yourself. Probably get a day off tomorrow. Get a practice in Calgary, you said, right? And then get a big game on the road again. Have some fun and go from there.
It's when you dig into this game, and I do want to take a look at it. It's again, certainly in the first half. While you felt like the Avs still had legs, it's really hard to fault the effort that this team had. First period, they outcoursed Minnesota 23-10. I'm curious on your thoughts though with the shot quality of the Avs tonight, because a lot of shots got blocked. Minnie was packing the box a lot. The Avs were outpossessing Minnie for the first half of the game, certainly, and really they didn't even fall that far behind when they ran out of legs. Is that good enough, or do you need them to maybe do a little bit better job of getting to the high danger areas?
Yeah, I felt that they over thawed the process a little bit on their shot selection, for example, not even just shot selection, but decision to what to do when I'm talking about Marty 3 4 times he was clear dead center slot and then tries to pass the puck down to the sides, you know what I mean, and then ended up you know not working. Maybe you're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to get my shot blocked because Minnie's in the way." But I do believe that they they have a they have to have a better shot mentality first, attitude coming into the playoffs, because it took Kivy or Ross Colton's glove or whatever, the touch it, not touch it, to get really one in on a greasier side of things. And sometimes that's why you put pucks on net. And I'm not saying you just waste your time and you're done with your shot selection, but even a couple times I saw Ross on the left side there trying to pick the corner up top from the goal line. I got no problem if you want to do that. Throw it at his feet. That's what I think I mean by shot selection. Your shot selection's not the greatest there by trying to pick the corner up top and nothing happens. Maybe try to put at his feet where all of a sudden there's a rebound, there's chaos, there's something. So I thought that was missing a little bit at times tonight. But like I said, give credit to Minnesota. They're missing a few players, and next thing you know, you're in a dogfight with them and you don't get the puck luck, and they played a decent game. Minnesota, you have to give them credit. And then in the shootout you don't capitalize. I think Minnesota's smart as well. They didn't really open it up. Like Rudo said, I think they were trying to get that to a shootout. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, we'll
And
talk
you
about
know
the
what,
overtime. Yeah.
that's my point. So I think that's what it ends up being. All of a sudden the extra point goes to that skills competition. I'm fine with it. That's fine.
Yeah, you touched on a bunch of different things that I wanted to get into there. So I love the analysis. Uh,
Yeah.
I, let's start with the individual in Marty Necas, because he's the one guy I really want to talk about tonight. Um, there's a couple of angles of this. Look, Marty clearly unbelievably skilled. You're not doubting the skill at all. He's a great player. Even with no points tonight, he's still a point per game pace here in Colorado. I do not have any problems with him as a player on the Avs, and he'll be just fine. But
No.
when you look at a game like tonight, when you look at a game where the Avs are going to struggle at times and you need a guy to step up, I, I think you may want a little bit more out of him than what you got tonight. And, fair enough. He did hit a post that nearly went in the net on the back door tonight. It didn't go. But at far too many times, it felt like he was deferring, like you were talking about. You're in situations where you want him to shoot the puck, and he's not. We've talked a lot about him needing to be a shooter to be the most successful version of himself in Colorado. And look, obviously, he's directly at fault for the one goal that Minnesota scores. I'm not really all that concerned about that. That's a total brain fart move that it happened fine. It's not one that he's not going to go out and do that again. I'll put it to you that way. That's not a problem. That's a repeatable one for Marty. So yeah, it was really bad, but fine. My bigger concern is, and I don't know that I'm actually concerned about this, but the big question with Marty when the trade got made was, can he do it in the playoffs? Can he do it for you in a big game? And was this game playoff level big? No. But it did feel like Marty maybe shrunk from the moment a little bit tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the jury's out on him in a sense that, not the jury's out, the jury's still out on him because of his production in the playoff hasn't been there. Now, this is a totally different slate. This is a clean slate this year. This is a different team, different situation he's been put in. But yeah, I mean, whenever a coach, I'm not going to be negative on him, but whenever a coach changes things and throws you away from the best player in the NHL because there's no results, that's a red flag. I mean, it is. I don't care what people say. You know what I mean? Like, if it was that great, and keep them together. I mean, what's going on? You know what I mean? So it wasn't that great. Um, I think he knows he throws a bomb backwards. You know what I mean? Like, that's a bad play. I think it got to him a little bit because now you want a good person. You want to recoup that goal. You want to make sure you're trying to get something else, right? On to help your teammates get back in the game. And one play like that in the playoffs can really be the difference. And it was almost the difference tonight, right? They didn't score till
Yep.
5 minutes left in the third. So every shift matters, every play matters, every second matters, and especially in the playoffs. So I think it was, I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to throw because he thought he was trying to throw the puck
Yeah.
back to Kale, but we go forward, we don't go backwards. But you're right. I mean, about not shying away from the moment, but you would like to see, and again, he's been fantastic since he's been here.
Yeah.
Uh, but on a game like, like you said, a game like tonight, you want him to do a little more. Um, didn't
You were
happen.
looking for
Not
somebody
blaming
to step
everything.
up tonight, and he did not.
Yeah,
And
and again, we can say the same thing about Val and tonight because
no,
as you know,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
know I know what you're saying. I'm saying I would have liked Marty to correct that mistake that he made. We all make mistakes. I'm not. It's all
And
good. You know what I mean? Like it's one of
maybe
those that is
it's
really weird, because you'll never see that again. You know what I mean? Like this year from anybody from Marty, or from anybody from the
yeah.
but
Maybe it's a little bit of just a sour taste in your mouth because look,
yeah.
you and I both hate the shootout. We're shootout haters. But the last image of this game is Marty failing to even get a shot off on his shootout attempt.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean you're right. It's just one of those nights uh where all of a sudden it's not like he's looking awesome. He's a good player. I'm still looking forward to seeing him in the playoffs. I do believe he's got that in him. Um, but boy, oh boy, the other two guys from the Wild look really good in the shootout. Where our two guys, where you thinking about it, like two of the top 10 scorers in the NHL, basically look like me and you know, trying to grease one in there, and it didn't look good.
It was the opposite of pretty. I'll put it to you that way. But it,
hmm
again, I don't know that I have a huge problem with that. The Avs getting a point out of this game was look. Could they have gotten two if things went well? Sure. The way the game played out, the fact that they got one, they deserve a ton of credit. They found a way to battle through what looked like a pretty rough third period for them and get that goal they needed to. You don't feel good about a loss, but I think you feel a lot more okay, especially you get 3 out of 4 points on this back-to-back. It puts the Avs
Yeah.
in a fine spot. That point keeps a little bit of that cushion for them on Minnesota potentially chasing them down. Do want to get into more of these conversations, but we do have to take a break here first. So let's pay a few bills here. As we are brought to you, of course, by Bet365. Go get with them. Go use the DNVR 365 code today. Of course, when you sign up and you use that DNVR 365 code, you bet $5 on anything, win or lose, you'll get $150 in bonus bets. And wouldn't have hit tonight, but plenty of other games this past week for the Avs. They have an early payout for the NHL. You get the Bet365 early payout offer. Anytime a team that you bet on to win goes up by 3 goals, you get paid out immediately. You don't have to wait for the end of the game, and they'll pay you right down the line on it. So make sure you're jumping in with Bet365. Make sure you're getting in with them and getting your bets on. If it's not the Avs, you're welcome to bet on pretty much anything else, wherever you want to go with it. Yeah, you can bet on basketball. You can bet on, I don't know, what, free agent football, any of that stuff. You can do it. So jump in with Bet365 today. Use that DNVR 365 code. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you do that $5 bet, win or lose. Of course, when you do gamble with Bet365, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. And, you know, betting is fun. Having fun is fun, turns out. But there are also times where you need to chill, relax, sit back, kick it with a Coors Light. Go get yourself some ice cold Coors Light. The mountain's on the bottle or the can turn even blue to let you know they're ice cold, ready to drink. I don't know where I'm at with these. What I do know is it's super easy to chill with the Coors Light in your hand, and you don't even have to get up off your couch to do it. Coors Light can get delivered right to your front door when you go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR thanks to Instacart. The weather's been so nice lately. My neighbor was actually out grilling in his backyard today. So there you go. It's officially grill season. You can get the Coors Lights chilling in your backyard. You can get the Coors Lights ready for the playoffs, which are just a little more than a month away. You know, you gotta be ready to choose chill. It's gonna happen at some point. Head to CoorsLight.com/DNVR today. Again, get it delivered right to your front door. And of course, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Please drink responsibly. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. A couple of other things I want to get into here, E. I know we talked about it and maybe wanting the Avs to have some better shot selection at times or choose to shoot from more dangerous areas. But also, look at the goal they scored. The goal they scored is a backhand from Sam Girard from beyond the circles. And yes, there is good hard work in front. You have Ross Colton streaking across. You have Kiviranta in front who gets the deflection on the puck to ultimately score the goal. But at the end of the day, in games like this one, where the puck isn't going for you, where you haven't gotten the bounces, is that not just by the book? At a certain point, you just have to start throwing the puck to the net, right?
100%. Look no further than the Winnipeg series last year, right? The
True.
Avalanche with Hellebuck taking his eyes away. It's not always there. The rush play, the 2-on-1, the toe drag, the roof shot. I mean, it's not always pretty. And there's games where it needs to be dirty. And then when the Avalanche got a little dirtier there, Kivy the cat, meow, Kivy the cat. Well, all of a sudden, he's in the front. Sammy does a great job of the little tornado spin there, and then just throws it back in there. Catches players by surprise. Um, all of a sudden, you're putting the puck in the back of the net. I mean, it's not that complicated sometimes, but sometimes it is because you have to mucky, greasy it up, mucky it up. You have to just get down and dirty and put the working boots on, the lunch pail out, and go. You can't just sit there and hope that something pretty's going to happen. Um, I liked it. He was going on with his fourth line there at the end, like no problem. That's just, I thought they really got the confidence, Jack, and of Bednar's trust. You know what I mean? Like, Logan with Jack and Parker. You know what I mean? They're fun. They're good clock killers. They work hard. They go. It'll be tough to move any of those guys out for playoffs, for anybody, and that's not in the lineup tonight. So I like what they did. I like the effort they had. All of a sudden, they need to. I thought they did. I mean, man, they did at times in this game. They just hit, like you said, whatever it was. There were chats talking about a few posts, and it could have easily been, you got a power play goal against the worst PK, in the league, and you don't capitalize. Why? Because you hit the post and then Nelson shot
It,
because it just didn't go in. It's all good.
so I think the point is not just that it hit the post. Not all posts are created equal, right? Look, you hit the outside of the post and it
Hmm.
springs to the corner that you never had a chance. Nelson's goes off of Gus's shoulder, hits the bottom of the crossbar, and somehow still bounces out the other side.
Hmm.
Necas on the back door hits the post, hits the side of Gustafsson, and somehow instead of bouncing off Gustafsson and into the net, bounces off of Gustafsson and out of the net. And sure, shoot it 2 inches better and actually put it in the net, but also you took some tough bounces there where the puck didn't find their way in. Now on the flip side, maybe you returned a little bit of that karma with I'm assuming you can't explain this either, E, but why is Ross Colton trying to grab that puck on the Avs goal?
You and me on the watch along, we're talking. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. It's not like you can catch it and put it down and then try to shoot it. Like, not gonna happen. I think it was just a reaction, and I think he's just trying to, go for it. Thank God, it sounds like they said he didn't touch it. Um, can you tell that he didn't touch? I don't know. They must have different angles, or what we saw. I don't know. It looks like it touches. Maybe not. I have no idea. But I was like, oh God, that's gonna go back because he's trying to catch it. Like it's not baseball. You know what I mean? So then again, I like that he was in front with Kivy too, and they were battling in front, net front, and mucky it up, greasy it up. Um, it could have gone the other way. It didn't. That was a big goal. I love Sammy's play at the blue line there. And again, you move, you change directions, you throw pucks on net, you take the goalie's eyes away, you go, and all of a sudden it just needs to be tipped a little bit. Next thing you know, it's in the net. So I liked it. I liked the fact that they did that. I think I'm harsher on them right now, but you know. They could have easily scored a few more goals. They did greasy it up a little bit. Gustafson gives him credit. He played good. He made some good saves. He got some good puck luck, but he made some good saves. Could have easily, for me, the Avs were the better team. You know, come down after the second period, and then obviously chasing the game in the third. The ice is tilted a little bit because they were trying to but give credit. It was a good hockey game by both teams. And yes, somebody's talking about there's no back-to-back in playoffs. Yeah, no, I mean sometimes, but if it does happen, both
It's
teams are on
even.
a
Yeah,
back-to-back. What I mean? It's even.
exactly.
It's the same schedule. So that's why I always say head-to-head during the season, it really doesn't matter because teams sometimes play a game in this third game 4 nights, and then the other team's been at home for 4 days, and you can't compare the regular season wins or losses. You got to make sure that when you get to the playoffs, it's the same schedule. It's all squared, and it's all the same equal amount of whatever it is that I'm talking about.
It again at 5-on-5. Besides, being 2 inches better on a couple of those plays, the Avs really played pretty well here. Expected
Mhm.
goals in this game at 5-on-5: Avs 1.79, Minnesota 1.21. The Avs
There
generated
you go.
better. And that includes the third period where the Avs just completely ran out of steam and really struggled for a significant portion of that period. Um,
Mhm.
it, it I can't fault this team for their 5-on-5 play. You made one critical mistake that you just can't make, and you got punished for it, and that's it. That's the only goal that Minnesota scored in regulation of this game. You even look at someone like Blackwood. Leave the shootout aside. Again, we'll get to that. In regulation and overtime, Blackwood played great. The only goal he gives
Yeah.
up is a literal 2-on-0 in the middle of his zone. He stops all the
Yeah.
other stops you ask of him. And the guy gave you a chance to at least get a point out of this game. It's for a loss, it's one of the more positives ones I've experienced in a long time. Even if you don't feel like the Avs played great at times, I I really don't have any major concerns coming out of this game.
Oh my God, no. Um, I didn't get a chance to listen to Coach's presser there, but for me, they gave it an honest effort. They did. I mean, were they perfect? No. But they gave it an honest effort in a team that was waiting for you. They were rested. Um, it just didn't go your way. You didn't get any puck luck. You are 6-0-1 the last 7 games. There's a lot of positives. We talked about McKenzie before the game, and somebody was talking about it pregame that they thought we were bagging on Mackenzie Blackwood. No, we love Mackenzie Blackwood. We love him. Uh, it was just a fact to say that he had a tough night against Toronto. Everybody has tough night. Doesn't mean he's a bad goalie. I love the guy. He had a tough night. That's a fact. He would be the first guy to tell you I had a tough night. So it was a good bounce back game for him, which is awesome because you want to make sure you come back and you give your team the ability to go win a hockey game. When you're a goalie and you give up one goal in 3 periods in 5 minutes of overtime, forget about the shootout. That doesn't exist, guys. The shootout thing, win or loss, I would talk the same way. I don't care when the Avs win in the shootout. I don't care when they lose. It doesn't, and trust me, in the locker room, it feels the same. It's so weird because you don't feel you lost and you don't feel you won. It is what it is, and thank God it doesn't exist in playoffs. But Mackenzie Blackwood answers the bell. He does. You know what I mean? He has a great game, a great bounce back game, gives his team a chance to win. You give up one on the road on the back to back. Yeah, you did your job. Now, as far as the shootout's concerned, clearly you can tell he's not confident in the shootout. You know who else wasn't confident in the shootout? Not, it didn't exist back then, the shootout, but on breakaways,
Who?
Pettywa.
He,
Same thing.
I,
Did not like freaking. He did not like breakaways. He was sweating before going to the Olympics there in '98 in Nagano, which ended up losing to the Czechs in that shootout. Right, only one goal. Robert Reichel scored. So yeah, I'm not going to judge a goalie on a shootout or on whatever you call those things. It's not even a penalty shot. It's a shootout. So yeah, I thought McKenzie answered the bell. That he struggles in shootouts, so be it. Don't go to the shootout, then win it before. And that's what the Avalanche usually do. They don't really get to many shootouts, so it's all good.
Here's the thing with Blackwood. He's pretty good on breakaways, like in game.
Yeah,
It's a little weird how bad he is in the shootout. He just struggles in the shootout.
yeah. It's
I don't know.
mental. It's got to be
Yeah,
mental.
that was my assumption, but I didn't
Yeah.
want to just say it. You're the
But
goalie
you could
dad here. So.
tell. Yeah, I mean, you could tell even on the second one, he's not confident. He's like, "Oh God," but that's okay. Like I said, it shouldn't be part of hockey. Yeah, I've been against it since it was put in. It's so dumb. That's not hockey. It's a
I
skills competition.
you're preaching to the choir there, and if you're a goalie that has to pick something to be bad at, I'll take the shootout. If you're good everywhere else, you're a pretty darn good goalie on the whole. So
Hmm.
come April, no one cares how good you are in the shootout. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah.
Uh, a couple of other different angles I want to take here. I'm curious on this thought here first, though, Ian. We only have a couple minutes here, so you can be brief. But
Yeah.
who you taking for the Avs' best player tonight? Or I'll say skater because I think you could make an argument for Blackwood being their best player, but best skater tonight for the Avs.
Without a doubt, for me, no hesitation, Kill McCarr. I thought he was flying through the screen. Um, I think he was awesome. I thought he had a lot of legs. Uh, Nobody could keep up with him. That was a little bit of the problem. I mean, that's why you didn't see a lot of beautiful rush plays and all that kind of stuff. He was always a step ahead of everyone. I like his shot mentality. Did they block a lot of his shots? I don't know what the stats are, but I'm sure they blocked a few because they were all collapsing down low, 5 man below the hash. Um, but I liked his mentality that he was going to shoot, and I loved his effort. I loved his getty up. I loved his energy. So for me, he was the main guy there for the Avalanche, energy and pace wise.
For the most part, I would agree with you. I thought Cale Makar maybe played the best game that was noticeable on the night, but I think you can make a strong argument for Sam Girard. Best
Oh,
possession
why not?
defenseman on the Avs at 5-on-5. Obviously gets the point on the goal. Finishes a
Yeah,
+1, so it was not one of the guys out there for the goal against, even if it wasn't really their fault. Obviously, that's on Necas. Um,
yeah,
on the whole, Girard dominated possession, did not give up very much. Only one high danger chance against when Girard was out there, 5-4. for a team that, especially late in the game, maybe struggled to possess the puck and play offense the way they wanted to, Gerard was consistently one of the best players on the team in getting the puck going the right direction and setting the Avs up for success. So,
Absolutely. You're right. Sammy was awesome. I mean, I didn't forget about him. I thought he was great. I just didn't want you to think that I was biased because he's French and, give you that answer.
all right, I understand. I understand. You got to look out for that on occasion. We do need to pay a couple more bills here, though. So let's jump over and make sure we get that done. As you know what? You know what maybe is the most important thing from this game, E?
No.
No injuries.
Oh, there you go. Knock on wood.
It's all about health, baby.
Uh,
And that's where UC Health comes into play. Make sure you're living like there is a tomorrow. Of course, UC Health out here at uchealth.org. You can head over there for more info for UC Health where you can live extraordinary. Look, any way you want to be healthier, UC Health can help. We've talked a lot about our weight loss on this podcast, all three of the members of it, but there are plenty of other ways to get health too. Don't be a gremlin like me. Actually have a real sleeping pattern. UC Health can help you with that. Whether it's mental health to physical health, they've got you covered. So head over to UC Health today. Make sure you get in there and make sure you are enjoying and living life to the fullest. Again, uchealth.org to get all hooked up with them. And one great way to live good, play sports. You want to be healthy? Go out there, have some fun with Volo. You can jump in. Volo is Denver's most popular provider of adult social sports leagues. They've got pickup games, they've got events, tournaments, you name it. Stuff like soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, many more. All over the state. Lodo, Rhino, Highlands, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, more. You can play with Volo and you can meet new people. You can stay active and you can just have a little bit of fun out there. They also come by the DNVR bar regularly after their games. So you can have fun at the bar with them too. Of course, you can join Volo right now for whatever it is. You can sign up as a free agent or with a small group or full team at all ability levels and backgrounds. You can join in and you can get $10 off with code DNVR10 at any Volo Denver league. So go join Volo today and have some fun playing some sports. Third thing, us. Did you know we have a gigantic sale going on for Die Hard coverage right now? It's NFL free agency, which, like, if you care
Yep.
about that, awesome, go do that. But there's also a bunch of amazing content on our site by AJ. You get all of these perks you can see on the screen. When you sign up, you get a membership card, a free t-shirt, a bunch of discounts. You get to become part of the Discord. It's all awesome. And you can get it all for just $36 right now. It's the kind of type of deal we've got going on. You're going to want to get signed up, especially with the ramp up to the playoffs. AJ's content is nothing but bangers on there. So let's do it. Why not get signed up?
Love it.
Third period. Oh, sure. Yeah, this too. Go get your Mac shirt. Mac just hit a milestone that literally only 100 people have ever hit. It's worth a shirt. I'll put it to you that way. Get your free shirt. Make that your free shirt when you sign up with the Die Hard membership. Okay, third period. There's a couple of things I still want to cover, but chat's been talking about it all game. Let's talk about overtime in the shootout. That overtime was lame. I mean,
Yeah.
going into it, my expectations were low. The Avs were obviously tired. You have bad legs. That's a tough 3-on-3 situation. And Minnesota
Yeah.
decided to circle back to their own zone for 4 straight minutes. What the point of 3-on-3 when it was brought in is because everyone hated 4-on-4 because all the fun had been coached out of it. Is that not just exactly what happened in this 3-on-3? You coached all the fun out of it?
Yeah, I think man, same thing. They don't have a lot of firepower. You play to your strength. They got some good players, Zuccarello, Boldy, guys like that, but they don't have a McKinnon, McCarr. They just don't. And I think winning the draw is very important for them. They got puck possession, and yeah, they were boring. They didn't really try anything. They didn't really force anything. Um, I'm not arguing. I'm not saying it's bad. I probably would have done the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. I probably would have done the same thing and really wait for an opportunity that opens up the seam and you can get a good shot, a good scoring chance. So it didn't really happen. So they kept coming back and then changing and going. And, finally the Avs got it. They try, Val got a couple chance. I mean, one
Yeah,
chance,
the
right?
Avs
Trying to
went
cut
for it
in.
more than Minnesota did. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man.
And the Avs had the puck for what? Maybe 1 minute, and
Yeah,
Minnesota four
something
minutes,
like
whatever.
that. Yeah.
Both draws they lost, and again, uh, overtimes, 3-on-3 hockey. I said that about the shootout. Okay, 3-on-3 can happen in a game. It
Buddy, you know
can
how I feel. I
technically.
want them to play 5-on-5 until somebody wins.
I know.
Like,
I'm like, whatever. I mean, in playoffs, no, well, they're not a good 3-on-3 team. Okay, name me 5 seconds the Avalanche played a 3-on-3 this year. Uh, in regular time? None. I would say the answer is zero, correct? I mean, I'm
couple of
pretty sure
four
I'm
on
right.
threes. I don't remember any three on
Yeah,
threes.
that 3-on-3 doesn't exist. I mean, it's not hockey either, but it's a little more hockey than that, shootout thing. So, but it is what it is. I would have liked to see it open up a little bit more. And again, when your legs are gassed, it's tough to go chase that puck and find it and go. And so the Avs didn't have it, so that's why they didn't have that many chances. They could have closed it, like you said, they didn't. Uh, you know, Credit to not Edmonton, Minnesota, because that's you played to your strengths. You did. I mean, that's you played to your ability to, like you said, I mean, like, you said it. It looks like they're trying to get this to a
Yeah.
shootout, and they felt good about their ability in the shootout, and so be it. You know,
Hey, look, I get it.
yeah,
Points are important. They're trying to play to their strengths, but I don't need to watch any more overtimes if that's what it's going to look like, man.
yeah.
Don't need it in my life.
Uh,
um, e, let me ask you this about the shootout, because I think you and I both can just accept Blackwood's bad at shootouts. Who cares? Whatever. Moving on.
yeah.
If the Avs get into another shootout this year, do you consider the swap? Do you consider YOLOing Wedgwood?
I've seen a few coaches do that over the years. I can tell you for a fact that, because I've talked to goalies about it, they don't like doing it. They're cold, they're going in. It's tough, man. You've been sitting there for hours, and then all of a sudden, you got to go out there, maybe do a split save or whatever. You know what I mean? It could be dangerous for injuries. So I wouldn't do that. I don't think goalies want to do that. But you're right. Sometimes it's like, there's goalies that are better than others at shootouts. So it's all percentages and numbers and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure without even looking at it, Wedgwood probably is better than Blackwood at shootouts in his career. So, but yeah, I wouldn't consider doing that. No, I saw it years ago. I don't remember seeing it again. Um,
I I'm sure
it's
it's
not
happened, but the
something
last
goalies
time I
would. Yeah,
remember, they swapped him and he like gave up all three. I think so. It did
yeah,
not
and I
work.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah, goalies don't like that, but whatever. It's all good.
yeah,
It's a fair
yeah.
question.
I again, when it matters, you're not going into a shootout either way, so who cares? But
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
it's something to consider if the Avs end up 1 point short of Dallas or something at for home ice. Maybe you look back at that and say if we could have eked out
Yeah,
one more point or something like that. But
yeah,
not something I wanna harp on too much in a game like this. Uh,
yeah,
I am a little bit curious, and let me start with these thoughts, and then I'll have a couple more numbers for you. Obviously,
yeah,
the Avs were struggling to put the puck in the back of the net, even if they got close tonight. And you saw late in the third period, Bednar really try to shift those lines up, really try to mix and match.
yeah.
Was that quick enough? Do you think Bednar chose the right time to get the blender going, or would you have liked to seen it earlier in the game?
I mean, no, I mean, sometimes I'm a fan of the blender. No, I'm not gonna call it the blender. sometimes I'm a fan of sticking with it too. I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like I said, I thought the Avalanche gave it an honest effort. They could have easily gotten a few goals if it wasn't for those posts. So I think it was more like, okay, let's switch a few things, go for it to try different things, try to go back with 13 and 62 with Nate, which we've seen before work, right?
Yeah.
Try to give a different look to Natchez with Nelson. Was that Drew in with them too? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't think it was Drew with them. Um,
Yeah. He was moving
anyway,
up and down.
yeah. So I don't mind it. I think sometimes you can't be stale. You can't just sit there. You try to get after it. They did. Um, you know, you gotta remember, it was chasing the game till five minutes left in the third. You were down 1-0. You know what I mean? So, at some point, I felt that there was the right timing to do it, to try it. And I do believe tomorrow you go back to your lines. You know what I mean? That's, what I think you're going to find you're starting to get a little bit of chemistry. You're starting to, and you can't judge something from on a back to back. I mean, you could tell even Val tonight didn't really have the boots, till maybe that overtime try that he goes around the guy. Other than that, not a lot of boots going for him.
Yeah.
Fatigue does set in. There's a lot of hockey lately, a lot of emotions. Um, again, I'll take that point any day. They could have won. I would have said the same thing. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna change my mind because of a shootout, competition.
Yeah. Just to run down that ice time for you, it really is a pretty decent split. Makar played an absurd amount because of overtime. McKinnon played an absurd
Yeah.
amount because of overtime. But beyond that, Nature's at 22 minutes, the only other forward over 20 minutes. You had Lehkonen, Nichushkin, and
Yeah.
Nelson all in the 18-19 range. Druin at 16. Your third line, Coyle, O'Connor, Kelly all at 12. Drury at 12 as well. Colton just shy of 12. The only guy who really didn't play a ton was Kivy, who ends up being your goal scorer, funnily enough, just shy of 9 minutes. Um,
On the way.
it's look, if nothing else, the lineup the Avs have now, Jared Bednar clearly trusts more than the lineup he used to have. You're not seeing anyone play 6 minutes. You're not seeing
Oh
anyone's
yeah.
minutes get heavily cut the way it was. There are guys out there that Bednar trusts, whether they're ahead, whether they're behind, whatever the situation is. Bedsy's rolling the lines.
And it's funny because we all know I make fun of Kivy the cat. We all know that. It's affectionate. I like Kivy. But Jared likes him. Jared trusts him. I think there's a trust factor there, and it's funny because he's played the least amount of anybody on the ice tonight. Probably the difference, he didn't kill as much as
Yeah, no
Logan
PP
and
time there
Parker.
for sure either.
Yeah, and he went with that, he went with that line, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
17, 25, and 18, which they gave them some good killing the clock minute, get some good offensive zone abilities, manufacturing some chances there down low by creating stuff, by working hard. So yeah, I mean, there's a trust factor with that line now, which is, same thing as when Kibby used to be there, but now it's Jack Drury. Uh, Obviously and Parker on the wing, but it's good because it's not like he's looking down. I'm talking, the coach, is looking down the bench saying, "Oh my God, who do I put out there next?" It's a good problem to have. Again, we talk about it. It creates a lot of competition internally, which means a lot. Uh, Higher floor. You talked about on the show yesterday. It raises the floor of the play of the Avalanche because it pushes guys to be on their toes and to make sure they have their best game, or they're not going to play. They're not going to be in the lineup. So it is what it is. And all of a sudden, I'm sure they're going to tinker again for a little bit, next few games with the forwards and get guys in, get guys out, and see what you can do. But it does create a pretty incredible pace of play for some guys like Parker and Logan. All of a sudden, they're flying because you do believe that if you're not on top of your game, you're not going to be there come game one of the playoffs. Again, knock on wood on injuries.
Okay, two things for you, Eve. One, Kiviranta has goals in 4 straight games, which, first of all, impressive. Secondly, that means he's due for another 20-game stretch. Game 20, Game 4 of the playoffs.
Say
Get your
that
bets
again?
in now. Kivi's due for a 20-game stretch of no scoring because he has
Yes.
4 goals in his
Yeah.
last 4 games. The 20th
Yeah.
game from today, Game 4
Yep.
of round 1.
Mark it down. Mark
Make your
it
bets.
down.
Get your bets in today.
Mark it down. Kivi's gonna be flying. The cat will be flying game 4. Could be on the road, could be at home. Who knows? We'll see. But you know what? I make fun of it, but what a story. It's a great story. Had no job, finds his way, and it's great. He gained the again, he didn't gain the trust of a coaching staff of a 32nd place in the National Hockey League. He gained the coaching staff of a Stanley Cup championship team that's aspiring to get back there. So pretty good. He must do again. I make fun of it because I think it's funny, but it's it's a pretty remarkable story, and I do respect him as a player. I do. I just think it's cool. Kibby the cat. I
Can't
just
say he hasn't earned it. You can't say he hasn't earned it, man.
he's earned it. Might
Uh,
have taken 9 lies, but he earned it.
Now, here's the other thing. Are you ready to be confused?
Yes.
The NHL has officially changed the goal to Ross Colton getting the primary assist. So he did touch it.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But did he touch it beforehand? Like, did it? You know what I mean? Like, no pun
No,
intended.
he got the primary. They're
Beforehand.
giving
Like,
him the primary. So
oh, you're right. If it's primaries, so I don't because it touches. It does. It's irrelevant that it touches someone from Dallas. I don't know. I'll have to read in the morning and look at the explanation. I mean, again, it's. I'm not saying they got it wrong. I'm saying I would have gotten it wrong if I'm the referee there, and I would have gotten it wrong because if he touches it, to me, that's a no goal. We'll take it. Not arguing.
yeah, again, not going to complain. Feels like the Avs have been due for some of those goals to maybe go their way. And
Yeah.
I will say, I say this every time. I like goals. I don't care if you throw it in; it should count. I don't care if you headbutt it in; it should count. Man, let goals be goals. I get it with the kicking because you kind of are wearing
Yeah.
knives on your feet. You got to have some level of safety, but beyond that, I don't care if you put the puck in the net. Count it.
Well, I agree with you, but that's funny that they gave it to him. That means they think he touched it. I'm not sure what they were looking at then, because I'm
My
confused.
my assumption, and this is an assumption. I'm not saying I know the rules that well. This is just my guess. Is he touched it, but they deemed it a deflection because it's not
Yeah, yeah.
like
But he
we
does
saw a goal
reach.
earlier this year count goes off the cuff of an opposing
Yeah.
player, the cuff of their glove. So they said, well, it did hit his hand, but it wasn't like he didn't manipulate it or whatever. So
Yeah, but this one he reaches. I mean, that's why
I
I'm
know
like,
I'm
remember, I was like,
I'm
what's he
just
doing?
I'm reaching for straws on this one. I don't know what to tell
I
you.
don't know. We got lucky. We got lucky. That's all right. It all equals out at the end of the year. We all know that.
True,
It
true.
all equals out.
You take it
Canucks are
where you
losing
can get
again,
it.
by the way.
The Canucks are. Jeez, Calgary gonna get the free pass into the playoffs, man.
That's
Must be
unreal.
nice.
Canucks are just struggling. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh wow, they're losing badly too.
yeah, Montreal is like,
Not pretty.
whatever. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, continuing on here. Look, would you have liked to win tonight? Yes.
Yeah.
I also look at this stretch of the season and say it feels like the Avs have maybe earned a little bit of grace. I was hard on them after their last 2 losses, and they responded by going out and winning 6 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's well deserved. You managed to scrape a point out of tonight, which again I want to reiterate that point means no matter what, even with the game in hand, if Minnie wins it, the Avs are still just ahead in the standings. That point is meaningful to Colorado.
Yeah. It
This
is.
is it's been a really good job. It's been a really good stretch. And is their play perfect? No. You probably want a little bit more play driving out of your second line tonight, like he was talking about. I think it's been 2
Yeah.
games in a row for Brock Nelson where things haven't really connected. You talked about this with guys earlier in the season. It looks like a guy who came out game 1, played purely off of energy and just
Yeah.
shinny style hockey. Now he's trying to get those systems installed a little bit, right? So
Yeah.
not all that surprising, but you do need to see Brock start to pick it up here in these coming games.
Oh, I do, and I still love the move. We talk about it all the time. I love the move. Um, is the best is yet to come. Is the
Oh,
easiest way to put it. The
and
best is yet to come for Brock Nelson and the Avalanche. Absolutely. It's just it's hard sometimes. Again, you've never really played with anyone. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, you're entrusted into this position, and yeah, I mean he's gonna be fine.
yeah, I'm not worried at all. Both of the guys that
Yeah,
I've leaned negative on in Necas and Nelson tonight were both this close to scoring a goal. If they 1 inch difference, and we're talking about how they
yeah,
were the guys that got the Avs going offensively,
right.
like it's not like
It
we're
is.
miles off here.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, um, but I think he'll be the first one to tell you there's more in the tank, and um, it's hard, guys. You've been in one place your whole life, and then you get the phone call that, again, you expect it because of the contract negotiations, but you're going somewhere else. It's different. It's different environment. It's different colors. You know what I mean, of jersey and line mates and names and staff, and it's a lot to soak in. Not gonna lie to you. But I think he'll be fine. I mean, you've seen a lot of spurts and moments where you're like, oh, I see it now. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
again, if you're not familiar with them, we're familiar with them. There might be some guys in chat or girls that have never, really paid attention to him on the island. You know what I mean? So I think you get an appreciation of his game the more you watch him. It's a perfect fit to slot in behind McKinnon. Um, Again, there's more in the tank for him, and I think he's gonna, bring it out here shortly. But hasn't been that bad. That's not what I'm saying. Is that there's a lot more to give for him. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
And look, I think it's important to reiterate too. I really felt like the Avs did a lot of things right tonight. A lot of the little details that, particularly since the trade deadline, these 3 games now, the number one thing that the Avs are doing, even in the game where they were tired, even in the game where they ran out of gas, they weren't taking any guff. This was a lineup that stood up. They hit people back. They didn't take anything. It was Parker Kelly again with Zach Bogosian mixing it up after the whistle. It's the thing that we
Yeah.
hadn't seen enough of in the first portion of this season. The Avs,
Yeah.
I don't know what the right word is. It's not their emotions aren't running high. This isn't a bad thing. It's the Avs are willing to do what they need to do. If they're down a goal, hey, poke the bear a little bit. Get them a little bit angry sometimes.
Oh yeah. And that's why in playoffs, and we all know that we saw in 2022 firsthand with the Avalanche. Everybody has a job to do. Everybody has a little bit a piece of the pie. Some bigger. McKinnon's got a bigger piece of the pizza pie, right? So is Kale. But everybody has a role. You can tell that O'Connor, Kelly, and Drury are gonna have a big role. You know what I mean? There's a trust factor there. They're playing with some gas. They're playing with some intensity. They're trying to steer things up. You need to. It's a game of passion. It's a game of emotion. If you don't have any emotions, you won't win the game. You have to play
Bingo.
with emotion.
Yep.
You have to control your emotions, like bad penalties and all that stuff, but you have to play with emotion. And once you do that, once you achieve that, I think that, for me, Parker and Logan, they've played their best games ever since it's been crowded in the lineup. Again, there's a big factor for that because it's called competition. And then it's called, I can do it and I'm going to bring it. And that's what they're doing.
I love the point from Jamie in the chat. Some of the basics. Nelson winning 71% of his faceoffs in the 3 games he's played for Colorado. And you saw the Avs adjusting to that immediately. There were multiple offensive zone shifts where Bednar threw
Mhm.
out Nelson with not his normal lineup. He had Coyle and I forget who the winger, I think it was Colton. He threw him out there for an offensive zone faceoff because that dude is winning faceoffs for you.
Oh yeah, this guy's gonna be a stud for the Avalanche. This is gonna be a stud, capital STUD for the Avalanche down the stretch here. Listen, it was needed what they did. It was awesome what they did, and again, he's been good. Again, he hasn't been great. He's been good, but I do believe he will achieve greatness. With the Avalanche. Absolutely, I'm a
Yep.
big fan.
Me too. Me too. I didn't know I was going to be this big of a fan. Not that I didn't like him. I did like him, but
Yeah,
I'd give you a lot of credit. You talked about a bunch of the guys the Avs acquired, and you talked about fit, and you can see it.
yeah.
You can see the fit, man. Makes a ton of
And
sense.
again, Charlie's a good fit. We saw that on that 5-on-3 last night. You saw it tonight on a couple things. All of a sudden, he mixed and matched and threw Charlie there with Druin and I don't remember. But anyway, all of a sudden it was like, you can mix him back. Charlie Cole can give you whatever you want. You want him to play more offensively, then give him some bigger, better gifted wingers. He can do it. You want him to go kill a 5-on-3 penalty, he can do it. You want to go win a face-off, especially on the right side as a righty, he'll do it. So yeah, they're good fits, great fits, and I think that you're only just starting to see it.
Yep, exactly. It's it's hard to fault them too much. With this OT loss, the Avs moved to 7-2-1 in their last 10. They were 8-2, so technically dropped the point there. But when you look around the
Yeah,
West, Winnipeg 6-3-1, Vegas 7-2-1, leading their division. The Oilers are on a ice cold streak, 3-7 in their last
yeah.
10. LA not great either, 4-3-3. The only team with a better record in the last 10 games in the West, I guess St. Louis technically, but they're out of the playoff picture. I
Yeah.
mean, they're not really, but they are really because of games in hand. The only team with a better
Yeah.
record, unfortunately, is Dallas at eight
Yeah.
and
That's
two.
right. Hmm.
So
That's all good.
it might be destiny. These two teams just have to duke it out in the first round. That might be how it's going to go. Um,
Yeah.
and and again, it's weird that this game gives me confidence more than anything else because
Yeah.
overtime
Yeah.
doesn't happen like that in the playoffs. Shootout doesn't happen like that in the playoffs. A travel back to back, if it happens, the other team also traveled back to back.
That's right.
So for a unfair playing field for the Avs, they did the thing that maybe they haven't done enough. And they didn't find a way to win, but they found a way to get a point out of a game where the bounces weren't going their way. It it wasn't a game where they popped off for 7. It wasn't a game where you got carried by Nathan McKinnon and the superstars. You were struggling to score. You were doing a lot of things, but you ran out of gas. You didn't have a ton left in the tank. And you get a depth play from Sam Girard in your third line that comes out and gets you a point tonight. If you want to be upset that they didn't win, fine. But you need to give them a lot of credit for finding ways to be effective.
Yeah. And Mackenzie should be happy with his game. Forget about that shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Don't
he
care about
goes
that at
over
all.
2. I don't care about that. I thought he had a good game. He gets beat on a 2-on-0. Other than that, it's a perfect game for him. He looked good. He looked confident. Wasn't overly tested, but I thought he did what a goalie has to do, which is give his team a chance to win. And that's when you give up one on the road to a good team that's in the playoff position, then you've done your job, and you can't ask for more there. But I'm like you. I feel good about this. I think if I'm coaching the Avs, I feel good. I'm pretty sure Bendar will feel good about this. Um, yeah, you can nitpick some plays. We all know that. That's a mistake by Marty. We all know that. But most of all, the Avalanche had some gas and they worked hard. They played hard. It just didn't go in. Next thing you know, you're in a shootout, and it is what it is. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
feel good about this game. I really do.
It's there have been previous games this year where it feels like those mistakes are getting made one on top of the other. Or there are stretches of hockey where they're making a lot of those mistakes. That's the first time I've seen Marty make a mistake like that since coming to Colorado. Certainly to that level of egregious, which is why I'm not worried about
Yeah.
it.
No, yeah. I
Yes,
mean, he
that
does.
play was
So
dumb, terrible,
it's
bad,
bad. It's a
but
bad
it's
play.
an
It's a bad
anomaly.
play.
It's an anomaly in what is now 17 games of Necas in Colorado, where he's done the vast majority of it good stuff.
Oh my God,
So,
yeah, he was spinning around tonight. Again, there's a big difference. You try to create a play at the far blue, you get a turnover, and your team gets, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Like every offensive guy, you have to live with that. Mac does it. You know what I mean? Peter Forsberg used to do it. Sakic
Yep.
used to. Those guys have the puck on their sticks. They have more chances to turn pucks over than guys that don't have the puck on their stick. But this one was different. He was at his own blue line, and he throws it backwards, 10 feet
Yeah.
backwards, and that's why it's like it's not something he does. I've never seen him do that. Again,
Yep.
it's not something you really
He,
see every night in the NHL. So who knows?
yeah. We are going to go ahead and wrap up on the televisions if you are watching us that way, whether it's, Samsung or Comcast, wherever you may be checking us out. The conversation will continue online as we move into overtime here. So come on over to thednvr.com to watch the last few minutes of the show as we close things up here. E, how are you treating this portion of the season? Because the Avs have points in 7 straight. You're 6-0-1. You get a couple of days off, and then you go into Calgary tomorrow. Are you treating that as a must win? Are you treating that as this is an important game? Where are we at?
Yeah, I think coach addressed that the other day, and it's like every game till the end of the year is an important part because it's getting you ready for the dance. And first and foremost, you want to get in the dance. It sure looks like they will, obviously. Um, but you never know until it's over, and that's why every game matters. That's why every decision matters. That's why every shift matters. And I think you treat every game going in there as a must win because you want to feel good again about your game individually, about your game as a team, and all parts of it, from goaltending to special teams to 5-on-5 play to the D zone coverage to your zone entries. Everything needs to be touched upon, and that's not a lot of games, 17 games or whatever it is. It's not a lot, to get you all organized as a team and to get into the playoffs feeling good. So yeah, game like in Calgary coming up. And Sunday against Dallas, probably a preview of what you're going to see in the first round, right? I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't take a scientist to figure that one out. That's kind of what it looks like, very high probabilities. So you want to make sure you feel good about your game. You feel good about where it's at. So yeah, those games are important.
I would say I don't know. I guess I'm of two minds of it. Of course, you want to win every game. Like let's not kid ourselves. And
Yeah,
points this year are even more important than normal, even if they all count the same. But
yeah,
I would also say it's hard to play must win hockey for 17 straight games leading into the playoffs and then have a playoff run where, must wins are much more real at that point. So I would say be careful about playing like your back's against the wall. You have to approach it the right
yeah,
way. With that being said, as we talked about on the watch along and in the pregame, the Avs schedule is pretty darn good through the rest of March.
yeah.
It's not much of a slog. You get breaks. This is a team that should be pretty rested and good.
Yeah, I feel confident. I really do. And I think that you got a day off for sure tomorrow. Then maybe you'll get a practice on the road there in Calgary. Maybe. Actually, probably as maybe Saturday will be on, and then you have an afternoon game, correct? Sunday. Dallas is at
Yep.
home is an
Yep.
afternoon game. Yeah. So yeah, I think you just got to get in there, feel good about it, touch up on a couple things, have a few meetings, and get yourself ready to go for a big game and feel good about where you're at and be ready for the challenge Friday because they're all playoff type games. They are. Calgary, give them kudos. We had GM Craig Conroy on the show with us the other day. Like, give them kudos. They've done a good job. Nobody expected them to be there. They're certainly doing better in Vancouver now, and where everybody had Vancouver a little bit higher probably at the start of the season. So, very important game for the Avalanche. Very important weekend for the Avalanche. I think they will be up to the task because everybody leads us to think that way with everything they've shown lately.
All right. We're going to wrap it up there. Unfortunately, there are more Sega Babas to come this season, so the Avs aren't out of the woods on those yet. But finding ways to points is a good thing. I'm going to call it. Yes, yes, I'm an Amish person now. It's fine. The beard stays until they actually lose in regulation, chat. So deal with it. We appreciate y'all always hanging out, having a good time with us. I think AJ just finished his piece. So if you want to go check out some writing on the game, go check that out. We appreciate y'all, and we will talk to you on the next one. This has been the DNVR Avalanche postgame show presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.